cosa che al mondo non c'è, che ho sognato, aspettato che un giorno arrivasse.
Hey guys, I'm about to work on this suit jacket my client brought me. It was too long and we're gonna take about 3 inches out, and stay tuned, let me show you how to do this. And we're gonna follow the same round curves, we're gonna do all of that. Stay tuned.
Ora che posso vedere lo sguardo che hai e i tuoi occhi più belli che mai.
Let's move the station.
Tutto il mondo si illumina col tuo sorriso e amore, e non sono parole. Tu fammi sognare, la luce, poi fammi morire, sai che mi piace, voglio il tuo sapore, vedi sei croce, sale di un amore, esisti solo tu, lasciati spogliare, e lo fai presto, dammi un po' sudore, io non resisto, vuoi sentirti addosso, sei l'universo, e il resto non esiste, e noi, dentro il silenzio rumori che senti lo sai, sono i banditi al cuore che hai, la pirosi del tempo che con la sera è amore.
So what I did here, like I said, I pinned the jacket while my customer was standing. I need to take this much out. The jacket actually has this rounded corner. From what I heard from the man, this is a sporty look versus the straight. It'll be more like a formal jacket. Anyway, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna measure and mark with a chalk all around where I need to have my final seam after. So looks like that I have about 2 inches, and here I have about 3 inches. So I have to make sure I have a perfect line. I'm gonna make sure I have perfect measurements all the way around. So here are 3 inches. So apparently I have to make everything at 3 inches. Okay, I'm gonna follow the 3 inches and not the 2 inches. Okay, because that was just a rough measure when my customer was standing. So we're going by these 3 inches. And first of all, let me pin that down for a minute. Take my chalk out. So I'm just gonna mark 3 inches all around before I open everything. Okay, at this point I'm going to open that seam here, what's holding the lining and the jacket. Take one of these seam ripper and find one stitch, and then from there it's gonna be much easier. Okay. And we're gonna take the jacket, we're gonna turn the jacket inside out. So let's just try to go through here. Okay? Make a big enough hole to just turn the whole jacket inside out. Just straighten it up here for a minute, for a second. Taking all these corners out. Put it back on the table. A few more stitches are holding this to be flat, so open those. Just get it flat on the table, okay? Whatever's holding inside, just open those little stitches. Just get it as flat as you can. I see you after. Okay, I just want to tell you, don't be intimidated by all these weird looking things inside. It's normal, that's the way a jacket is made, it's formed, especially a men's jacket. There's a lot to it. Just open whatever's holding those stitches. And when you get to the side here as well, it's like, you know, hand stitches. All we need to do is get it flat, the corners and everything. We want to see those corners because we need to round them up again. Don't open too much, but just enough where you have, where you get it flat on the table. And I feel like I should open the other side of my table because this jacket is too long. Or I can just turn it sideways. Okay, now what I'm gonna do. So I open all the seams. Now I try to get it straight flat on the table, and I'm gonna pin. I'm gonna pin a few. I'm gonna put a few pins around. Then I'm gonna use my iron to get it back flat. Start to iron as you talk. Ouch, I'm okay. You see that? Did you saw that? That's my phone charger. I'm almost hitting my head. Almost. I'm gonna put this on a medium for now. It's hard to stay organized, guys. It's hard. How do you do it? I don't know. I'm becoming a really messy girl lately with thousands of projects to do. I'm really doing thousands of projects, but I usually don't take these small alterations for my customer lately because I'm super busy. But this is an old customer, so you know you cannot disappoint your old customers. So I'm just gonna get it flat to iron it before I finalize with my remember I have to cut out. Figure out how much I'm gonna cut out. Let me get some water to put in this iron. Okay, so I'm back. I'm gonna use the speed. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay. I'm trying not to get too much water on this table because I want it to last forever. So I'm just straightening up here so it's easy for me to work with it the whole time. But let me measure what was the original. I need to know what was the original seam inside. So now it's all straightened up. I'm checking for my mark. And I see my chalk line is right here. I don't know if you can see it. But let me put a pin through and I need to see it on this other side. So there you have it. I have my mark right there. So let me see. See what I said? So you have your 3-inch that was marking the fabric, and then you have the additional 1 inch that's inside the seam. So now I have 4 inches. So with that being said, remember I marked those blue lines there, the 3 inches to shorten up the jacket. But remember you have the 1 inch seam allowance inside. So keep that in consideration, and then you take out the remaining fabric, whatever measures. Okay? So in my case, I need to take out 3 inches. So I'm going to mark 3 inches all over again. Much better. And then as I come closer to here, it seems like it's reducing. The measurements goes in a little bit. So I leave that for now until I get to this point. Let me see. It looks like the fabric started to deviate from this point. About 7 inches in, I will have to start making a curve. Let me measure that. So right here. So I have my 3 inches measured all around. And then when I get to this part, I'm going to take the other corner of the jacket and I'm going to trace it. Let me do it now so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take this corner and duplicate on this side from the top of the 3 inch right there. I'm just trying to match that round, that's all. Okay, so I'm going to use something sharp to finalize the curve before I decide to cut it, okay? Let me find a plate. Let's see if this works. Yeah, that works. So let me show you what I'm doing, because you want to find that round. Okay, so basically I'm just following with something round in here. It's not much, but that little, it makes a difference. Okay. I think I'll need a bigger plate, a bigger round. So I'll need to come back. And that's it. Alright, so that's my curve right there. Not this one, but the other one. Alright, so I'm gonna do the same on the other side. And on the other side, I'm gonna use this piece here and duplicate. But let me trace this all the way because I'm running out of space on the camera. And I'll see you after. Okay, so I got to this point with the tracing. Let me show you again on this side what I'm doing. So as I said, it's a difference between the distance between here and here. So here we have the 2 inch, and we get to this point. Let me see also how high I went on the other side. So basically, it's important because you want your button up to a line. Okay, so measure perfectly on this point. See what's the distance between your last chuck here to the bottom of your old cut. Okay, so I just marked my ruler right here. So from okay, so I marked my ruler from the old seam that I can still see. I see the track, you probably don't. To the top of my last chuck right there is 3.5. So that is my reference guide. Okay. So this is where I'm gonna start with my round corner. Sorry, right here. So with a few ways you can do this. It's really up to the individual how you decide to do it. Now I'm gonna match those lines. Okay. And now this corner should match the other corner. Okay, so that's what I need to cut my fabric. And then I'm going to be sewing on the 1 inch. All right, that's gonna be my seam right there. And if I want, I can trace the lines right now, so I know exactly what I'm gonna sew later on, to keep it perfectly distant. You know, here you kind of make sure you align these. You see, it's critical. Right here at this part is very critical. You want your jacket to align perfectly. So put a pin if you want to, whatever you want, but that's gonna be your final line, matching with the front. So I'm gonna trace my 1 inch. And I'll see you after. Okay, and I'm ready. I'm ready for the big moment. We're gonna start carefully cutting that extra. Make sure it's flat underneath, okay? Double check you don't have layers of fabric. And you know what, let me put a few pins so this top jacket doesn't move. It's the time to keep it together, so I should have done that in the first place. Make sure everything is aligning. Very, very critical. Very critical at this point. Because once you cut it, everything is going to start moving. And then you're going to work hard again to put it together again to get that perfect line. Pin, pin, pin. Especially around where the stitches are, you can double pin over there. Okay, so what I'm going to do additionally, and I want you to see, I'm going to use this round again to get that where the seam is going to be. That's very important, remember. Okay, now we're going to continue putting a few more pins and a few more blue lines, and then we cut. Okay, my dear, so I have enough blue lines and enough pins. Now I can comfortably cut, and let's continue from this side. Have a sharp scissor, of course. Of course, of course, of course. Yeah, this is a pretty good scissor if you're wondering what this is. Okay, it's the Ginger. This is where I can pronounce. Wow, look at me, it's like a mirror. There you go. Made in Italy. Alright, it's not bad. I have this for quite a few years. I haven't used it much, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's a little bit heavy, but it's good. So yes, very important, it's heavy. If your hands get tired, I'm not sure if I want to recommend this scissor. It's pretty heavy. Anyways, now we're going to go to the... So at this point you could do a surge stitch right here, or probably leave it like that because you might want to alter it again later on, you'll never know. So do not do any surge, do not do any surge. We're simply going to stitch on the blue. Okay, I'll stop here for a minute. Now I have to turn everything outside, facing outside. And I left such a small hole, I have to take my time turning everything. So let me do this. Take it little by little. Can you see there? Could leave just an inch bigger. We are almost there. Oh. Oh. Okay, now the exciting parts. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna take my iron. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my iron and press really well. Okay, so the iron is ready. Let's press this really well, 2 times. And after that, we have to sew this little bit of lining. I'm gonna do that after. But first I make sure I press the lining, and I'm turning this jacket like that. I'm doing it at this point. I'm just starting it here, and then I can move my way sideways. Be careful, choose the right temperature for your iron. Because between the lining and the actual fabric, there are 2 different temperatures. It should be, just choose something to suit both of them. I'm pressing really well in that curve. Basically, I'm going inside and I'm pressing that round edges. I'm kind of putting my iron, and I'm pushing with the iron on the corners, on the edges. Don't worry about this line. I can fix that later. Now let your jacket really give it a shake. At this point, you can close your seam or just wait and do it after. So, if you want, you can pin it down and make sure your lining is all flat. And make sure you don't have your lining sticking out more than your fabric. That means you cut it wrong. Hopefully you didn't, if you follow the direction, okay? So it looks like this is just about 1/2 inch in. So, just gonna... Double check your corners are matching. I already did. Bellissimo, you see that? Now we have to work on this other one. You see how it looks like it's stuck in, and that, don't panic. Once you iron it, it's gonna be all fine. Just make sure you pull it out correctly. Watch your fingers for the steam. Okay, so, yep, perfecto mundo. A perfect world. I wish it would be a perfect world. That's a different story for a different time. Okay, I do like how this came out here. I hope you do too. So, turn it one more time. Get that lining going. And I'm gonna have to focus on this. So that one. So I'm gonna do that final stitch by hand to close that pocket, and that's it. Let me put it back on a hanger so you can see. Let me make sure this is the crystal. I see the crystal. That's it. And that's it. I hope you enjoy my video. The jacket is ready to go back to his papa. If you have any questions, please let me know. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Ciao ciao.